Just about a minute now to the 9 o'clock hour or 20 hours 59. Stand by at the top of the hour. It's going to be the police and you. You're in tune with 100.1 F vibes. The time 21 hours. Hello, good night to you, and welcome down to another edition of The Police and You. This is a presentation of the Corporate Communications Unit of the Ghana Police Force. The Police and You comes to you every Tuesday night. And of course, it gives you a chance, you the listening public, a chance to be able to reach out, to be able to have your questions answered, should you have any, with whoever is on the program. My name is Gouveia, Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Police Force, and tonight it gives me great pleasure to introduce long awaited, and finally, he is none other than the Commander of Regional Division number 6, that's the Berbice area. None other than Mr. Jairam Ramlakhan. Good evening to you, sir, and welcome to The Police and You.
Good evening, Stan, and good evening to all our listeners. I am Superintendent Jairam Ramlakhan, as Stan just indicated, long awaited. Commander to be on this program. I must say that I am pleased to be here tonight, sir.
All right, and you know, Commander, ironically, you are one of the predecessors of the office that I hold. So when it comes to public relations, it is certainly not a new area to you. You've spent a number of months heading the office before going off to command that division. Just before we get into that, what was it like, and what would you say were some of the challenges being able to liaise with the media?
Well, I should say that it's not months but years. Rather,
Years.
5 years at the PR department, and I can safely say I had no challenge or challenges with engaging the media. The fact that I've been doing PR work since I joined the force.
Awesome.
So when I was posted as the public relation and press officer in 2015, I get started and I engage the media because I know that you have to work with the media. You have to work with them. You can't work against. And it's basic. All they need is information. And as long as you give them the right information, you have no problem. So for me as the public relations officer, it was like a smooth sail in the office.
Is there anything you would say as too much information in terms of the police giving to the media? You would say that?
No, there's not. I wouldn't say that too much information. Never too much information.
Just the right amount.
Just the right amount. Just the, you have to be precise.
Awesome. And you've translated that into, as commander of Regional Division 6. Evidently, it's evident in terms of your engagement since you've taken up the command post at that end. The relationship and the relations you have, and continue to have, that is, with the media, even in that division and further afield.
Yes, certainly. The relationship has strengthened. The fact that I was a station sergeant in Borbies in 2009, then after I became an inspector, I started to prosecute. I was the court superintendent for the region. Well, then Region 5 was included as B division. Then I was subdivisional officer for all the subdivision in the region. So I had a very, very good relationship with the public. And then going as commander in October of 2020, everyone was more or less pleased with having me as their commander, someone that they can reach out to. And that's what I've been doing from October 16 to now.
Awesome. So it therefore means that you know this region by hand. Let me guess, just before I bring that question, to those of you who are listening here, you've got a variety of options where you can tune in. You can also tune in on the Ghana Police Force Facebook page as well as our YouTube page. Just go to Ghana Police Force and you can tune in. If it is that you've got questions specific to a Regional Division 6, you can give us a call later on the program on 501-9809. That's 501-9809. And Commander Ramlakhan will be able to take your questions and facilitate your answers. All right, but otherwise, or you could even, as a matter of fact, post your questions on the live stream on our Facebook and our YouTube page. And as I was saying, Commander Ramlakhan, this is evidently a region that you know, I would want to say, like the palm of your hand. For those, now obviously, it's no longer B division, but you're now Regional Division 6. Tell us what the parameters of that region is, how wide it spans.
Well, it spans from, of course, from the Borbies Bridge, go all the way to Oriala, to the Borbies River, going to Gate Troy, and of course the Kanji Creek, going all the way to Barakaro. A very large or big area to cover. And I know that you've been there at Oriala and, of course, the Borbies River, so you were able to visit the two ends.
Yeah, and the funny, indeed, and the funny thing is that, you go down when you go in the Borbies River, then you realize that very shortly you're crossing into Region 10.
That's true.
All right, but it was an awesome visit, by the way. So how many stations and outposts you got
14,
that make up?
14 station outposts and outposts. Yeah.
Would you say that your region is effectively staffed to police your region?
I will say yes. I'll say yes.
Okay. And
despite of the limited manpower, we were able to have the support of the community policing group, and that strengthened our staff.
community policing.
Yeah.
All right. That sounds as if it's one of the very interesting things that I find a lot of divisions have been working on, and the incidentally just yesterday at the handover of vehicles to the force, the president was alluding to the strengthening and the rebuilding again of community policing if it is we to have effective uh, policing. And as a former PR officer, I'm pretty much sure that you're big on building relationships with the public. So, what is it like, your relationship like with the police and members of the public within your region?
I would say is one of that can be considered excellent, a very robust relationship with the public, and it's not that easy you could able to achieve that feat, but it all because of your constant interaction, where you're able to reach out to almost every citizen of the region by visiting the various communities regularly during your community outreach, face the community meeting, or any other engagement. So, as the commander, I must say that I am extremely pleased with the support that I am receiving, or we are receiving, from the citizens of Borbis.
Awesome. And if we to turn also a little bit, I would have noticed another aspect, not just the community policing, but the station management committees that are being set up, which is another, uh, I would say, public police partnership. How is that working
Now
out?
that is working very good. What I did, or we did, when I assumed the command in October of last year, and we've been able to install station management committees at all the stations in Borbis, because their role and function basically to look at the welfare and the physical surrounding of the station, welfare of ranks and the physical condition, that means the infrastructure. And they have been doing a fantastic job. A fantastic job in the sense that I always have reason or cause to applaud them for the good work. Only a few days ago, um, a computer and a printer was donated to the Springlands police station. And this is something that is happening throughout Borbis by members of the station management. Regular donation to the station. And it's something that, I want to applaud the members for. At Central Police Station, they are extending the mess hall, and that would soon be completed, able to house more ranks. At all the stations, they have been making their input voluntarily. They have been seeing that the ranks are comfortable, that the compound and buildings are kept clean and tidy, the lockups also, and they have the privilege to visit the station, of course with the permission of the subdivisional officer of the station sergeant. And this cordial relationship exists all along. But I'm happy to say, as commander, we have station management committees at every station, and they are doing what they are required to do, and nothing else. It is a
Awesome.
boost.
And that's a boost, you
Yes.
say. Definitely.
Recently, the station management at Springlands had a raffle, and they did well. And I know that they're going to be purchasing a lot of things for the station there, in addition to the computer and the printer.
All right. Now you talk about that, but even on a larger scale, when we look around, we see several police stations currently under construction in various regions. So particularly as it relates to Regional Division 6. Could you say either ongoing or in need of repairs?
Well, we have two, so, I must say, almost completed the WIM police station and the Albion police station. One that needs to be looked at urgently is the police outpost at Mara. I didn't think you get to go there. The last time was several hours from New Amsterdam. But we have been doing some work in the area on the building, and we were able to dig a channel from the station to the river. So it's easy access for us to get there, how to respond to any reports. It's just half an hour from New Amsterdam compared to almost 2 hours from New Amsterdam by road because of the deplorable condition there. But very soon, with the help of the business community, we have already acquired some material, and on our own try to renovate that station and get it operational within another month or so. But we have ranks from Sisters Police Station policing that community regularly because we've seen an increase in farming, farmers going back to the farmland. So we need to have our presence here full time.
21 hours 16. This is the Police and You here on 100.1 Vibes FM, and also on Facebook and YouTube at the Ghana Police Force. On the program is none other than Commander of Regional Division 6, Senior Superintendent Jairam Ramlakhan, and I'll turn our attention right now to the issue of crime, Commander.
Thank you for the promotion.
Just before you go off on retirement. Now, Commander, what are the most prevalent crimes that occur in your region?
Wow. Robbery underarms. Robbery underarms. Where firearms are used. But I can tell you at this point in time, we don't have any increase. We don't have any increase in robbery underarms on par comparative last year. We have a decrease in murder, a decrease in robbery and aggravation, a decrease in break and enter and larceny, a decrease in burglary, and even a decrease in rape. It's all because of the number of initiatives that we have embarked upon in policing the community, with the community policing group, with the citizens, with our neighborhood police, or RCs, and the collaboration that we now have in with companies who volunteer a vehicle or two on weekends to assist us with the few that we have to police our communities. The foot patrol, because we believe that you don't have to be in a vehicle to effectively police your community. You could walk the ground. And that is one of the initiatives that is working well for officers to be seen in their communities by day and by night on foot. We had some challenges. I would have, robbery, but break and enter was a challenge. Break and enter, go to work, they left their homes unprotected. And then is when those who are bent on doing wrong would want to venture into homes. But because of this collaboration, this neighborhood um, watch or strengthen relationship where members of the public now have the full confidence in the police because of the number of initiatives that we roll out where we were able to share our numbers, all the senior officers' phone numbers. We were able to give crime tips. And it's amazing that as the commander, myself and team, the hard work that we are putting out, we're reaping the fruit or the benefit because we're able to have crime under control. One of the important aspects to note is we're able to solve crime very quickly after its commission. Very quickly. It's because of our networking. It's because also of the training the ranks have received. Crime scene investigators. Not only the crime scene ranks, but the general duty. Not only the crime scene ranks, but the general duty and neighborhood police. And don't forget our station management rep. Right, we've been doing a fantastic job, and that is a plus. It's no easy task. There's no easy task. Everyone has to put their shoulder to the wheel, and that is what I'm getting. Full support from everyone, and everyone means everyone. Our officers, we look at their welfare, we look at all issues, so they are comfortable. Maybe not comfortable as they should, but we are getting results because of their dedication and commitment and the trust that we now getting, is bringing back or winning from the general public.
So, go ahead.
I must indicate that we have an open door policy. So members of the public coming to see the commander or any senior officer would not have to wait long. My instruction is that even if we're in a meeting and someone comes to see us, the meeting must be suspended and we allow members of the public to come and vent their what deal with it, and then we carry on the business of the meeting. And that works well, so there is no long wait for members of the public going to see the commander or the senior officers. That was something in the past.
Would you say those are the kinds of initiatives that you believe would have led to your 37.5% decrease, particularly in things like murder, when you compare last year to this year, and being the major reasons for that kind of, downturn in that kind of crime?
Certainly, yes.
And Commander, what we have seen from your region as it relates to regular reports, would you say it has to do with the COVID-19 restrictions that are in place, and that has to do with a lot of either resistance to the COVID guidelines, and in some cases, suicide? How is your region faring with these particularly two issues?
Well, I would say the COVID guidelines are not being adhered to fully for many reasons, but we have embarked on a very robust enforcement campaign. I could tell you that so far for this year, we have arrested in excess of 110 persons for breaching the COVID-19 guideline, of which half of that amount disposed of already. And I can't say, well, the restriction is causing what you indicated, but there may be some other social issues. But I think we are doing fairly well in terms of our enforcement. There's only so much that we can do. We could talk, but if one is just ignorant of the fact that what the police trying to do is a waste of time, well, they would have to face the consequences, and that's being arrested and charged or generally prosecuted. We realize too, because of the court system, that many persons would have to be warned rather than taking them before the court, because of the notices that can go before a court or be placed before a court and on any given day. So it means if we arrested 50 persons, it would take some time before they all appear before the magistrate. So we have embarked on another way, another initiative, is to go out and sensitize and then educate about the danger of the seriousness of the violations. I must say that my ranks, they are not in full compliance in order to be vaccinated, but we get in there, we're almost halfway. Halfway, meaning in excess of 200 plus ranks have received their first dose, and just below 100 seconds. And this is a continuous process. Every day of the week, ranks are going to take their vaccine. And it's a very good move. Myself and family, we have taken both doses. We lead in by example, and it's something that I am imploring on all Guyanese to be vaccinated, because it is this COVID-19 is very serious, it's dangerous, and only today I got a very sad news that a very close friend passed away in my hometown, having been suffering with this virus for just over a week or two. Mother passed away, no daughter. And still persons are not taking all the precautions. We are going to stop talking now and enforce more, do more enforcement. Before I leave to come, my officers, the deputy commander and the 3IC, are in a meeting with the regional official to discuss the possible, a spike, in fact, there is a spike in Berbice, region 6. But they're not alarming like other region, but we want to ensure that the citizens adhere, protect themselves and family, and of course we have to ensure as police officers, frontline workers, that all of my officers quickly take the vaccine and be safe. Of course, you're still not safe, but you guarantee some safety.
Kudos on that. Now that you make mention of this, I gotta ask, we've seen what is known as the private zest, which is these private parties that are not advertised the way they used to be advertised prior to COVID and the regulations that we have. In your region, do you have any of these, and how do you police it? This is where, for example, the party is advertised, for example, by way of a WhatsApp status or something, so that it would not even be shared to somebody's phone for them to then pass it on to police, right? It's maybe just on a person's status, and then it gives you a private location, and persons are there. I know you would have had instances where ranks turned up because of noise nuisance, and then they discovered that people were way into the hour, into the night. They were playing music and imbibing, and then they try to become aggressive. How are you actually dealing with cases like those?
Well, so far, because of our network with the public, these private parties, um, even though it's not advertised, we were able to be on top. Be on top in the sense that we get information as to who planning, where, and we approach and try to advise them, or not really try to, we advise them as to the protocol, about the prohibition, about the COVID-19 guidelines, and of the consequences. We have been working with the National COVID-19 Task Force. There is a WhatsApp group where information is shared, and we're able to action those information quickly. There are a number of persons or businesses who we are aware had their businesses suspended 3 months, 1 month, and so on throughout Barbados. And the message is spreading, and persons are now very cautious how they go about their business, especially breaching the curfew or overcrowding their establishments, because they realize now that we have control and we only have to report, well, business X or Y violated the curfew or the guidelines, and they get a warning letter from the co-op task force, and subsequent the suspension. So everyone is very, very cautious at this point in time, because they don't want the business to be closed. They realize the seriousness of the task force, and so they're not taking any chances. There are a few on licensed premises, and so we are monitoring it in the far off areas. But we are vigilant throughout all the varieties, and as I indicated, we are getting information flow like a river or a stream, just going all the time. I am really happy with that support. Persons or citizens are coming forward, and they speak out without any fear, because they know that everything that is said or reported to his team, right, would be kept confidential. And I believe that is one of the hallmarks we have achieved as a team commanding the Barbados region. The same happens as it relates to traffic accident. We're able to have a 46% in fatalities at this time. 46% decrease, and all because of the number of enforcement campaign that my traffic officer, Assistant Superintendent Clark, and his team have been doing from day one. The public is more comfortable that there be no hassle or harassment. I'm speaking of the driving public, or the traveling public, or the motorists. There are no more queues along the road. I've given specific instruction to my officers that if they're to do a campaign, all they need to pull is one vehicle or two, deal with them, and then continue, but not to stop 6, 7 vehicles at one time and then go at their own time. So now if you see someone commits a violation, stop that person and that person only, and you deal with them. Now when I said deal with them, to address the situation, a caution, a warning of speeding. So we're not going to charge just like that. So that by itself brings some kind of appeasement to the citizen, because you've been hearing of persons have to wait, they have to go about their business and have to wait long on the police officers. That is nothing. That was something in the past. Also, no ranks in running out from any corner or any shed. You have to be on the road, so your presence serves as a deterrent. The message must be sent. It's not about how many cases you make, but it's about the preventative measures that you have in place. That you stand there on the road and the message will go from as far as every corner or end of the region, that the police out there. So you would have to look at your speeding. You have to ensure that you have all your documents with you. So we don't stop for document unless you commit a violation. So far, the traffic department made in excess of 12,000 cases. 12,000 cases, and that has nothing to do with stopping vehicle randomly, but during our enforcement campaign, they're able to do a lot of work. So the traffic ranks are there working, and of course when they give a ticket, whoever the recipient, always pleased because of the professionalism displayed by the ranks. You know, when you give someone a ticket, they may vex with you, but no, they say thank you, officer, and the next time I will do the right thing, right? So it's about the communication between you and the driver. You must be able to, let them know, educate them of the wrong things that they do, the reckless behavior, and then you talk to them very nice, and you give them the ticket. And they say thank you, and they go and pay it. Even as ever you contribute something to the economy, because the money will be used, to build roads and schools and so on. They feel nice. They say, I'll do something,
But Commander, evidently a lot of traffic enforcement happens during daylight. And what we find is that a lot of particularly serious accidents and sometimes even damage accidents that happen also under the influence of alcohol happens on the dark. That is way late at night, going home from a party or some event after imbibing. Um, do you have ranks on the roadways to be able to monitor and do the same at night, the same way that happens during the day?
We do have the task force, um, traffic task force, but the number is not that great like that in the day. What would assist us now, and what happens, when you able to categorize the accident, is might be just a minor accident, or if the person is just hospitalized for observation, it is classified as a serious accident. But then it, you know, goes back to, you know, so that is one of the challenges when persons being hospitalized, it being categorized as a serious accident. But you find that within several hours after person's discharge. Now, with a new fleet of vehicle, we received 4. I want to say thanks to the government, right? Long awaited. And I want to say that even though we hadn't that many, we were able to do our work at ease. At ease in a sense that because of the collaboration with the public, we were able to zero in terms of having the full use of the community policing group vehicles, the private citizens vehicles, and with the few that we had, or still have, to do the work. And now with this 4 that we received today and distributed throughout the region, I can safely say that we have more visibility at nights in terms of patrolling the roads and the communities. So I am very optimistic that in the coming days we'll be doing much more enforcement at nights because we have more vehicles, and I should say that one of the vehicles assigned to the Springlands police station, and you know of the number of criticism people call about transportation and so on. So the people or the resident in that community would be very happy. We sent another to 51, and that is one that we are currently using, that was in the region. Another new vehicle was sent to Wim police station, another to Albion. The one that was sent to Albion is one of the vehicles that we are using for some time now. We are able to send 2 at number 50 at New Amsterdam. So we now in a better position to police our region more effectively and efficiently. The citizens could be assured that our response time would be much, much faster than before because of this new fleet we were given the people, for the people of Barbies. I'm so happy that, not only me, but my team. And you understand when the calls come from all quarters and you don't have enough. We can't deny the fact that we were handicapped. But because of the relationship that exists from then to now, we were able to professionally police or police the region as if we had the same amount that we get today. Right? So that is a very, very, I want to thank the public generally. I want to thank all those persons who volunteer the use of the vehicle. And I said to my officers that we must not complain, because when I was a constable, I was sergeant, I could have gone into the various communities that I work and command the respect and the support. And those days you were really surprised to know that so many vehicles you could get to work. And so saying that you're not getting anything, so but the kind of approach now in Barbies where all officers are seen moving around the various community, especially the troubled one, and able to win this trust back again. What is it? You know, it really is a good um, vision, a good initiative that everyone should try to emulate for the good. We must not be complaining. We must be able to find solution to the problems. And that is why I have regular meetings with my staff, and they have regular with theirs, their subordinate, and we're able to address issues and concerns. Every week, we document or come in, and we address them quickly by means of on-the-job training. Of recent, from the 22nd of August to September 5, we're able to train in excess of 66 persons in um, psychology, training in psychology. Appreciate, when persons go to the station with problems and the way they behave, you must be able to, as an officer, to detect quickly and to know how to assess and how to deal with these things. So I have had this training ongoing for 3 weeks, and that by itself now would be able to expand at the various levels. I think 3 weeks and 60 something or how many persons trained. It's very good. So they're able to approach members of the public in a more professional way and understand. Because one of the problems I tell them, they must be able to find time. They must be able to spend time listening to the problems. And I give them many examples. Many a times where if you listen and you listen attentively, that is the solution to the problem. Some people just want a hearing. And if you're going to push them and to just shout, you just say, well, listen, all right, I hear enough, give me your statement. No, that's it. You must be able to listen and understand what is the root cause of problem and able to address it. What I've seen, and my ranks are telling me the same, that when they listen more, it's like they solve the battle. But there's, of course, a lot of patience, and that's as public servant, I tell them. At the end of the day, you must be satisfied that you listen to the problem of several citizens, and they were happy. Or whenever they leave the station or the office, they must leave with a smile and this contentment that my officers have done a good job. And I'm extremely pleased to say that many days at the office, when people leave my office, they leave, like with joy and so much of, energy, because of the fact that we deal with their matters in a professional manner. If I can't handle it, I assign someone and I get feedback and so on. Many of the reports that come in through to my phone at night, I would take the reports and the complaint, I would log the number in my phone, I forward it to whichever officer and tell them to deal with this now. And they report next thing. And the same thing is being cascaded to the other officers. They're doing that. Many sleepless nights, but at the end of the day, public come first. So as commander, I get like just a few hours sleep.
One of the things, evidently, you would also be looking forward to as tangible returns for your lack of sleep would be your success rate in the courts. What is that as of today?
It's good. We of serious crimes, we had in excess of 80% charge, and our clear up rate is somewhere around almost 50%. And the charges, as you would be aware of the number of messages that I send to you daily of person being convicted, it's all because of a lot of preparation in terms of the investigation and the presentation at court. Our prosecutors are doing a fine job. They train. The fact that the police did an excellent investigation. So in terms of prosecution, we always on top. Always top because we prepared. As a former prosecutor, I tell them, I give them how they must do it. You gotta wake up in the morning at 2 and you study your files and ensure that all the evidence that is supposed to be taken and lodged and so on, that you get it up and so on, and you're able to lay a good foundation and so on, and orderly room of briefing your witnesses and so on before the trial and so on. And we've been seeing a lot, and you could attest to that, Stan. Every day, this one somebody 18 months, 9 months, 2 year, 5 year. I know sometimes you fed up with the amount of work that I sent to you. Right?
Certainly not.
Right? But generally, we've been doing a good job. And it's all because I've advised that you need to do a proper investigation before any charge laid. So you're certain of a conviction. And coming from the old school, I know, and I tell them, delay must not occur. You must always be ahead. One magistrate said, Mr. Ramlakhan, you always seem to have it, you always seem to be on top. Because when indictment matters, a person coming to plea for the first time, the next hearing is for statement. I would already have statement ready on the first occasion. So if there's statement next month, statements are ready, Your Worship. So you have to and that is the way, so you have cases now being prosecuted or dealt with more in a shorter space of time because of simple common sense, right? Trials, witnesses must be there, wary of writing, but you must have the witnesses there on standby to give their evidence, even if evidence in chief. So they don't have to come, the next time they come back is for cross-examination. So as long as they're there, you inform the magistrate, so we have the witness here, can we take the evidence in chief and so on. So all that, helps in having speedy trial, because going to the court is not an easy thing. 1 time, 2 time, 3 time, umpteen times for one matter. I told my officers that that should not be. They must have all the witnesses readily available. The court must say, well, I can't take more today. So I work with the prosecutors, having come, had some experience in that field,
21 hours 53. I want to turn my attention to this penultimately is the issue of drug eradication. We've seen a number of reports too coming from your area where lots of, as a matter of fact, hundreds of acres of land that have been cultivated with prohibited plants being destroyed. Tell us about this that is happening, and what advice would you give to those who are pontificating on and doing it to maybe make a quick buck, and even those who are now deciding that they are going to transport it from one.
Well, that's a very sensitive or very the question you ask, is one that I don't want to answer fully. The fact that yes, we did many eradication exercises in both the Kanji and the Borbis River. What we find, or what is happening now is that the force is moving into a direction where we trying to trace the ownership of the land, where the cultivation, right, is taking place, so that we could prosecute the owner. Because what you find, persons who have lease would rent to those who are planting, those who want to cultivate. So we're moving towards prosecuting the owners of the land. And very soon, even though you're not there, you will be placed before the court. So they have to be very circumspect, not to get involved. We are more visible now in terms of our marine capability. So we do more river patrol, both in the Oriala, Borbis, and of course the two other, Kanji Creek and Borbis River. So those three areas, we are doing more patrols. As you're aware, you were able to acquire a boat and engine for Oriala after a very long wait. We're able now to police that area. And so, as I indicated, it's a very sensitive issue. The question that you asked, you know, about eradication. The persons were arrested, and more than half charged possession of narcotics. Because what we find is these breakages, the persons who are on drugs, they do anything. They value your phone value is 200,000. They steal your phone for one joint and sell it for 2 joints, whatever the cost is. But certainly it's not more than $1,000, right? So the same thing they do in the various communities to break your home and to sell their articles. So what I realize, and not now, or we have found, that we have the drug houses and target them regularly in the sense that every week, every single week, we enforce that, and it is working well, right? Because our residents are much more comfortable. We cannot eradicate it overnight, but there's a work in progress, and I have only this morning spoken to my senior command team, let them know.
All right. We just got about a minute and a half more before we run out of here. So it's been a very engaging conversation, Commander Ramlakhan. Let me just ask you this. In the twilight of your career, you're about to retire. When you think of this, what advice would you give to the ranks in your region and, by extension, the residents of Region 6?
Well, as you indicated, it's time for work, time for family. You must be able to balance. You know, we know that in the police force, there is so much that, you know, is being asked or that you're being committed to, that many of us find less time for the family. But I am saying to all sundry to put aside some time, much time, because I'm going back soon to the family, all right? Who would have to take charge of me full time, right? But this, an illustrious career, you know, I have no regrets. I have the good days and the bad days, but that make me stronger. And going back into the civilian world, I would just like to see that persons take a page from my book. I'll take all the pages, the whole book for me, right? Try to emulate, right? I remember coming up as a sergeant and corporal, and many commissioners doing inspection at stations and so on would tell the public or tell the officers they must be, try to emulate Ramlakhan. Even on courses I go, I'm so happy to say that I was exposed to many training in Barbados, international human rights and humanitarian law. I went there twice. I was able to go to Washington, D.C. and do crime and communication. I went to Barbados where I did my police administration, and the number of courses that I was exposed to in the police force, I can't call it, right? And it helps me to be the person I am today. Very passionate, very committed, and able to balance, work and play, So very soon I'm leaving, and I must say that I've been given full support, full cooperation. Of course, there are times when some persons may not see eye to eye, but then time will come, and probably they may have to experience something, because what you say might be just, not what they want to hear. But the Guyana Police Force is the best job, or the best organization. I want to and I want to implore on the young officers, or the officers to able to get on the ball, able to speak to the ranks under them, able to get them, emulate them, to motivate them. One of the things that I've been doing is every week we recognize the efforts, the good work of the officers in the various sections in Berbice. I bring them, give them a talk, take a photograph and put them on the Facebook or page, and they feel so nice. They're just a little tap on the shoulder, and you get more from them. And they say, Ali, what? Commander is very good. But it's the kind of motivation you need. But when people work, you're able to recognize the effort. So I'm heading back into the civilian world and in the field of agriculture. Before I joined the force, I used to do agriculture, so I'm going back to the soil to enjoy my retirement, with the family.
Back to the soil in more ways than one. Commander Ramlakhan, it's certainly been a joy sitting down with you tonight and to this program of The Police and You, and I want to wish you well. I want to say thanks for spending some time with us here. And I believe I speak for the entire police force, rank and file, as well as the administration when we say congrats to you on an illustrious career so far.
Thank you.
You still have more days to serve.
I know.
But congrats.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you to our listeners. And thank you for your team for being here with you tonight, and the people or the ranks that I work with so closely. As a very dedicated team, very brilliant team, and they have all it takes to make your job easy or easier. Good night.
Good night again. And of course, to those of you who have been tuned in, thanks a lot for being in tune with another edition of The Police and You. It's been Superintendent Jairam Ramlakhan, who is the commander of Regional Division 6 and the former PR officer at the Guyana Police Force, on tonight's program. Saying again a big thank you for being here with us.